What if the story of Mercedes-Benz you think you know is a lie? Its true hero wasn't the genius inventor, but his wife, who took a secret forbidden journey, and its celebrated history hides a dark alliance you won't believe. To uncover the full shocking story and more untold histories, subscribe now and be sure to turn on all notifications. Today, we are going to explore one of the most powerful and emotional stories from the world of cars. But this story is about so much more than just a machine. It's a story that starts with a simple dream and grows to touch the entire world. It's about the courage of a woman, the genius of an inventor, and a brand that became a symbol of luxury and power for over a century. This is a story about history, about struggle, and success, about failure and courage. It's a story about about difficult truths, and about love. You will learn how a German inventor named Carl Benz created something the world had never seen before, a car that moved without horses. You will see how his wife Bertha Benz changed history with a single secret journey. We will also look at how this company became part of a dark time in history during Nazi Germany and was used by Adolf Hitler himself. But we will also see how Mercedes-Benz faced this truth, admitted its past, and rose again to become one of the most respected brands in the world. And finally, we will understand how a Mercedes car became a symbol of status everywhere, from Germany to Dubai, from India to Hollywood. This is the real-life story of Mercedes-Benz. It is a journey that is deep shocking and truly unforgettable. So please get comfortable and listen closely, because this story is full of surprises, important lessons, and moments that will stay with you for a long time. Now let's begin. Our story starts in the mid-1800s in Germany. Imagine a world filled with the sound of horses' hooves on cobblestone streets. People traveled using horses and carriages. The idea of a machine that could move by itself without an animal to pull it sounded like madness. It seemed completely impossible. But in this world, there was one man who had a very different dream. His name was Carl Benz. He was born in 1844 in a German town called Karlsruhe. He was a brilliant mechanical engineer, a quiet man, but his mind was always full of incredible ideas. From the time he was a young boy, Carl was fascinated by machines. While other children played outside, Carl would be inside drawing pictures of gears, wheels, and engines. Deep in his heart, he held a powerful dream to build something that could move on its own, something that would one day replace the horse. But in those days, people did not believe in such wild ideas. When he shared his thoughts, people would shake their heads and say, "Why do we need a machine to move? We already have horses. They work perfectly well." But Carl did not listen to them. He did not stop dreaming. He spent many years of his life working day and night trying to build a new kind of engine. An engine that could run on fuel, not on hay, and water fed to an animal. The engine he finally built was small, it was noisy, and it was very, very different from anything the world had ever seen before. But the most important thing was, it worked. In the year 1885, Carl Benz built the world's first automobile powered by gasoline. It was a strange-looking machine. It had only 3 wheels, a tiny engine under the seat, and it looked a little bit like a metal tricycle. He called his invention the Benz patent-motorwagen. But there was a very big problem. Nobody believed in his car. Nobody wanted to buy it. People in his town would see him driving it, and they would laugh at him. Some pointed and called him Crazy Carl. He started to feel defeated, like all his work had been for nothing. And then someone very special stepped forward to help him. This is where the story becomes truly magical. Carl's wife Bertha Benz was not just a supportive wife. She was a visionary, a true believer, and perhaps the real hero of this story. She lived in a time when women were not even allowed to vote, but she decided to do something incredibly bold. One early morning in August of 1888, before the sun came up, she quietly went to Carl's workshop. Without telling her husband, she took the car. With her 2 sons, she set out on a journey that would change the world forever. She decided to drive from her home in Mannheim to her mother's house in Pforzheim, a distance of 106 kilometers. This was the first long-distance car journey in history. Think about it. She didn't have any maps. There were no mechanics who could help her if the car broke down. There were no gas stations to buy fuel, and the roads were just dirt paths made for horses and carts. But Bertha was brave and very clever. Along the way, she had to fix the car all by herself. When a fuel pipe got blocked, she used a pin from her hat to clean it. When a wire in the ignition broke, she used her own hairpin to fix it. When she ran out of fuel, she had to stop at a pharmacy to buy a cleaning fluid that could be used as gasoline, making that little shop the very first gas station in the world. As she drove through small villages, people ran out of their houses in shock. Some were scared. They thought she was a witch riding a devil's machine. Others simply could not believe their eyes. A woman driving a metal horse that moved on its own. But Bertha did not stop. After many long, difficult hours, she finally arrived at her mother's house. From there, she sent a telegram to her worried husband, Carl. The message said, "The car works. The world is ready." And that journey was not just a simple drive. It was a message to the entire world. And it worked. After news of her journey spread, people became curious. They traveled to see the strange car. Some still laughed, but many more were amazed. And slowly, very slowly, people started to believe in Carl Benz's dream. Orders for the car started to come in. And what began in a small, dusty garage in Germany became the beginning of the company we know today as Mercedes-Benz. That journey was such an incredible act of courage, wasn't it? She faced so much uncertainty all alone on that road. It makes you wonder. What do you think was going through Bertha's mind during that long and difficult journey? What would you do if everyone you knew told you that your dream was impossible? I would genuinely love to read your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. But the journey of Mercedes-Benz was far from over. That was only the beginning. Now let's go a little deeper into the story. While Carl Benz was busy in his part of Germany in another city called Stuttgart, there was another genius at work. His name was Gottlieb Daimler, and he had the very same dream as Carl to build a vehicle that could run on fuel, not on horses. But his vision was a little different. He wanted to build engines that were faster, stronger, and could be used for everything, not just for expensive cars for the rich. In 1886, at almost the exact same time, Carl Benz was building his car Daimler, and his brilliant partner, Wilhelm Maybach, were also working on their own small engine. And they also succeeded. They created a small light engine that they called the grandfather clock engine because of its shape. They installed it into a wooden bicycle, creating one of the very first motorcycles in the world. A little later, they put their engine into a four-wheeled vehicle, just like Benz's. So now Germany had 2 brilliant men in 2 different cities inventing the future of transportation at the same time, completely separately. You might think that Benz and Daimler worked together from the start, but that's not true. For many years, they were rivals. They were competitors. Benz had his company, Benz and CA. Daimler had his company, Daimler Motorengesellschaft, or DMG. They had different ideas, they built different engines, and they even sold their cars to different customers. But something was about to happen in the world, something that would unite these 2 great rivals forever. Now we come to a very special part of this story. The name Mercedes. Where did that beautiful name come from? Here is the true story. One of DMG's biggest supporters was a wealthy businessman named Emil Jelinek. He was a car dealer and a man who absolutely loved car racing. He sold Daimler's cars in France and Austria, but Emil had one important condition. He told the leaders at DMG, "I will sell your cars all across Europe, but the car must be named after my daughter." His daughter's name was Mercedes Jelinek. She was only 11 years old at the time. And that is how the name Mercedes was born. In 1901, DMG created a powerful as new car and called it the Mercedes 35 HP. It was beautiful, strong, and very fast. It completely changed the way cars were built with a longer body, a stronger engine, and a lower center of gravity. People started calling it the first modern car. It was a huge success. Soon, everyone started calling all of DMG's cars Mercedes. And slowly, that little girl's name became more famous than the company itself. Then came World War I from 1914 to 1918. Germany was at war, and everything changed. Factories stopped making normal products for people. Instead, they started making weapons, military vehicles, and engines for warplanes, both Benz and C. And Daimler's DMG had to stop their regular car business and help the war effort. They built engines for tanks, trucks, submarines, and aircraft. But after the war ended, Germany was a broken country. The economy was destroyed. People were poor, and many companies went bankrupt. Both the Benz and Daimler companies were struggling just to survive. So in 1926, these two great rivals, Benz and C, and DMG finally came together. They merged to become one company, Mercedes-Benz. They combined Carl Benz's famous name, Daimler's brilliant engineering, and the popular brand name Mercedes. Together, they were ready to conquer the world. And for a while they did. Mercedes-Benz cars quickly became a symbol of amazing quality German engineering and pure luxury. But something dark was waiting just over the horizon. Now we must enter the most difficult, controversial, and painful part of this story. In the 1930s, a man named Adolf Hitler rose to power in Germany. He had huge plans to make Germany strong again, to build massive highways, factories, and a powerful army. And who helped build the vehicles and engines for this new vision? Yes, it was Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz became one of the key suppliers for Hitler's government. The company built military trucks, airplane engines, and even special cars for the Nazi army. In fact, Hitler himself was often seen in a Mercedes-Benz 770, a huge black luxury car with bulletproof glass. This car became famous around the world as the Hitler car. But the story gets even worse. During World War II, many German companies, including Mercedes, used forced labor. This means they took prisoners of war, Jewish people, and people from the countries they had occupied, and forced them to work in their factories. They worked under terrible, inhuman conditions. It is estimated that over 40,000 people were used as forced laborers in Mercedes factories during the war. This part of the story is painful and dark, but it is also very important to tell the truth. And to its credit, Mercedes-Benz later admitted this dark past. They apologized publicly and paid millions of dollars to help survivors and to educate people about what happened. They did not try to hide from their past. They took responsibility, and that act of honesty helped them earn respect from the world. After World War II ended, Germany was completely destroyed. Its cities were in ruins, factories were bombed, and people had nothing left. But from zero, Mercedes-Benz began the slow process of rebuilding. They used whatever old materials they could find and started making small cars, delivery vans, and buses. Then, in 1954, they introduced a new car that shocked the entire world. It was the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, also known as the Gullwing. It had doors that opened upwards like the wings of a bird. It was a piece of art, and it became an instant icon of hope and recovery. From that moment on, Mercedes just kept growing year after year. Their cars became a symbol of luxury power and class. The star on the front of the car represented the very best of German engineering. Presidents, kings, successful business people, and even Hollywood stars began choosing Mercedes cars. The brand had traveled from war to peace, from guilt to greatness, from a simple dream to a global legacy. But the road ahead was not going to be easy because the world was changing fast. From the ashes of the war, a new Mercedes-Benz was born. But how did they go from just surviving to becoming the ultimate symbol of luxury all over the world? And who were the powerful rivals that tried to stop them? We'll explore all of that right now. If you're enjoying this story and want to make sure you don't miss our future journeys into the history of great ideas, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. It helps our community grow and ensures you'll be the first to know when a new story arrives. Now let's dive into the journey of how Mercedes-Benz became a global icon of luxury, how they fought against powerful competitors, and how they are now entering the future with electric dreams. While most car companies in the world were focused on making their cars faster or look more beautiful, Mercedes decided to focus on something they believed was more important: safety. In the 1960s, Mercedes-Benz engineers asked a very important question. What if cars could save lives, but not just move people from one place to another? And that is when they started introducing features that would save thousands of lives. They invented crumple zones, a special design in the front and back of the car that absorbs the force of a crash, keeping the people inside safe. They promoted seat belts at a time when many people didn't even care about using them. Mercedes was also among the first companies to include airbags as a standard feature in their cars. And they introduced the anti-lock braking system, or ABS, which helps a driver stay in control of the car, even when they have to brake very suddenly. Because of this focus, people all over the world began to say, if you want the safest car in the world, you buy a Mercedes. And this reputation for safety has lasted for decades. In the 1970s, the world saw another side of Mercedes-Benz, pure luxury and power. They launched their famous S-Class. This wasn't just a car. It was like a moving palace. It had soft leather seats, beautiful wood-finish dashboards, and an incredibly smooth and quiet ride. It was filled with advanced technology for that time. Kings, queens, presidents, famous actors, and CEOs all started choosing the Mercedes-Benz S-Class as their personal car. It became a powerful symbol of success. In many countries, people would say, you know you've made it in life when you are driving a Mercedes. By the 1980s, Mercedes-Benz was no longer just a German brand. It had become a global icon. They entered the American market, where Mercedes became the top choice for Hollywood stars and Wall Street bankers. They went to India, where a Mercedes was seen as the car for VIP government ministers and film stars. In the Middle East, rich oil families bought entire fleets of Mercedes cars for their palaces. Africa, South America, Asia. Mercedes was suddenly everywhere. They started building factories in other countries, not just in Germany. They even created local versions of their cars to better suit different types of roads and climates. They were now competing on a worldwide stage, and they were winning. But then new challengers appeared. BMW, another German company, began to build a reputation for sporty, fun-to-drive cars. Audi introduced modern designs and their famous Quattro all-wheel drive system. And from Japan, Toyota launched Lexus, which offered amazing luxury at a lower price. Jaguar, Volvo, Cadillac. Everyone wanted a piece of the luxury car market. Mercedes could not relax, so what did they do? They started upgrading their cars even faster. They introduced more powerful engines, more stylish and modern designs, and more advanced technology. They worked on getting better mileage and offered more comfort options. They also started expanding their range of vehicles. They introduced SUVs like the M-Class, which was later called the GLE. They created smaller compact luxury cars like the C-Class and the A-Class for younger customers. And they even built supercars like the incredible SLR McLaren. In the early 2000s, Mercedes partnered with the famous British racing company McLaren to build a true supercar, the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren. It was incredibly fast, incredibly light, and super expensive. It was a combination of Formula One racing technology and German engineering. This car became an instant legend with only a few thousand ever made. It was a car built for the richest of the rich. Then, in the 2010s, Mercedes decided to go even higher. They launched Maybach, a special sub-brand for super luxury cars. These cars were even more luxurious than the S-Class. They were custom-built for billionaires with features like massage seats, refrigerators, special ambient lighting with 64 colors, and privacy partitions. The Mercedes Maybach became the favorite car of celebrities like Jay-Z and Beyoncé royals in the Middle East, and the ultra-rich in China, Russia, and India. It was like having a private jet on wheels. Today, Mercedes-Benz knows that the future is electric. So they have created a new brand called EQ, which stands for Electric Intelligence. They launched the EQS, which is the all-electric version of the S-Class. They also have the EQE, an electric E-Class, and a range of electric SUVs like the EQB, EQA, and EQC. These cars have huge digital dashboards that stretch across the entire front of the car. They have a voice assistant. "Hey Mercedes," fast-charging, long battery life, and are super silent to drive. Mercedes is investing billions of dollars to create new factories that only build electric cars to use clean energy and to develop next-level AI technology. Their goal is to become a fully electric car company by the year 2030, and they are very serious about it. You might wonder, why has Mercedes-Benz survived for over 100 years? Why did it become more trusted than so many other big companies? The secret is that they were never satisfied. They kept improving. They learned from their biggest mistakes and faced their dark past with honesty. They always believed in quality over everything else. They never chased only profits. They understood the people who bought their cars, and they always moved with the times from gasoline to hybrid, and now to electric. Let's start with a question. Why do world leaders, kings, billionaires, and even secret agents in movies so often choose a Mercedes-Benz? There's a reason. When a president visits another country, or a Bollywood star is seen at the airport, or a powerful business person enters a five-star hotel, the car waiting for them is often a black Mercedes-Benz. It says something without using any words. It says, "I have arrived. I am respected. I trust only the best." Here are a few real-life examples. Nelson Mandela received a very special Mercedes 500 SE. After he was released from 27 years in prison, the South African leader became a global symbol of peace and forgiveness. And when he became president, the people of South Africa decided to build him a car by hand. More than 60 workers in the Mercedes-Benz factory in East London, South Africa, came together to build the car specially for him. They didn't use machines. They built it entirely with their hands as a way to honor him. This car was more than just a car. It was a symbol of hope and respect for a great man. This part of the story always touches me deeply. It shows how a car, a simple object, can become a part of a nation's history and a symbol of its highest ideals. If this story about hope and respect moved you, perhaps you could share this video with someone else who appreciates powerful, true stories. Then there was Princess Diana's secret Mercedes. In 1994, Princess Diana, one of the most loved figures in history, did something no other British royal had ever done. She started driving a Mercedes-Benz SL 500. This shocked the British media because royals were expected to drive only British brands like Rolls-Royce or Jaguar. But Diana chose Mercedes because she valued its safety and its comfort. She liked the feeling of freedom it gave her. Because of pressure from the public, she eventually had to return the car. But it showed the world that a Mercedes wasn't just for power. It was for protection, too. Shah Rukh Khan, the king of Bollywood in India, once shared in an interview, "I used to see big men in big cars and dream that maybe one day I'll have one." Today, his Mercedes Maybach S580 is one of the most luxurious cars in India. This journey from a middle-class boy in Delhi to a global superstar sitting in a Maybach shows how a car can become a part of your own life story. But here is what truly makes Mercedes so powerful. It's not just loved by kings and celebrities. It's trusted by families, by taxi drivers, by doctors, and by everyday people who believe in one thing above all else: safety and trust. Let me tell you one more short story. In 2012, a father in Germany was driving his C-Class with his 2 young children in the back seat. Suddenly, a large truck coming from the opposite direction lost control and crashed directly into their car. The car was completely destroyed. The front was smashed in. People who saw the crash thought nobody could have survived. But when rescuers arrived, all 3 of them, the father and his 2 children, were alive. Why? Because the car was built to protect them. It had side airbags, crumple zones, a reinforced steel frame, and special child seat protections. The structure of the passenger area remained strong. When the father stepped out of the wrecked car holding his crying children, he looked at what was left of his car, and he began to cry. Not in pain, but in gratitude. He cried because he realized that his Mercedes had just saved his entire world. In 2016, Mercedes launched a new system called MBX, which stands for Mercedes-Benz User Experience. It's an AI-powered voice assistant built right into the car. You can now just talk to your car. You can say, "Hey Mercedes, I'm cold," and the car will turn up the heat. "Hey Mercedes, take me to the nearest coffee shop," and it will start the navigation. You think the story ends there? No. Mercedes is now working on flying cars with a partner company. They are developing self-driving cars that use advanced AI and satellite GPS. They are creating biometric seats that can check your stress levels as you drive. They are building eco-friendly factories that produce zero carbon emissions. They are creating cars that are not just for transport. They are creating personal spaceships for the modern world. Now it's time to go even deeper into the true meaning behind the famous logo. The numbers that show their success today, and the powerful life lessons this incredible brand teaches us. You have seen the 3-pointed star inside a circle. It looks very simple, but it is one of the most powerful brand symbols in the world. But what does it actually mean? Each of the 3 points stands for a different world: land, air, and sea. Yes. When the logo was first created, Gottlieb Daimler, one of the original founders, said, "Our engines will one day rule the land, the air, and the sea." It wasn't just a dream, it was a promise. And today, Mercedes builds luxury cars for the land. They have partnered in building aircraft for the air, and they even make powerful marine engines for the sea. That tiny logo holds a massive, world-changing vision. Now let's talk about some numbers. The company is now part of the Mercedes-Benz Group AG, one of the richest and most respected companies in the world. The brand value of Mercedes-Benz in 2025 is over $60 billion. Their annual revenue in 2024 was approximately $165 billion. They have over 170,000 employees around the world and sold over 2.4 million vehicles in 2024. The total net worth of the Mercedes-Benz Group is estimated to be between $100 and $120 billion. They are consistently ranked among the top 10 most valuable car brands in the world, competing with giants like Toyota, Tesla, and BMW. But more important than all that money, they are rich in trust, loyalty, and reputation. Every great name has a past, and Mercedes does not run away from theirs. They accept it, they apologize for it, and they educate others about it. As we talked about during World War II, Mercedes factories were used by the Nazi government, and they used forced labor. This is a dark and undeniable truth. But unlike many companies from that era, Mercedes-Benz has publicly apologized for its role. They have donated millions of dollars to Holocaust survivor funds, built memorials inside their own factories to remember the victims, and shared all of their historical records with complete transparency. They teach us a powerful lesson. Success means nothing without humanity and honesty. Here are some of the powerful slogans that Mercedes has used over the years. The best or nothing. Safety is not just technology, it's our responsibility. Luxury is not about price, it's about how you feel. And perhaps the best one, we don't just sell cars, we create emotions. In May of 2022, Mercedes-Benz sold a special ultra-rare car. It was a 1955 Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe. The price, $143 million. Yes, you heard that right. It became the most expensive car ever sold in the history of the world. Why was it so expensive? Because it wasn't just a car, it was a piece of art, a piece of history, and a masterpiece of engineering, all on 4 wheels, and only 2 of them were ever made. And that is where our incredible journey with Mercedes-Benz comes to an end. What a story from a small garage in Germany to a symbol known all over the world. This one was a real emotional ride for me to share with you. I am so curious to hear what you thought about it all. What part of the story surprised you the most? Do you have any questions left about the characters or the decisions they made? Please share all of your thoughts, your feelings, and your questions in the comments below. I truly love reading every single one and building this wonderful community with all of you. Thank you for listening.